Anyway, so the game that I was playing and the main reason I upgraded my graphics card was a very heavily intensive, graphically intensive, massive open world game known as Crimson Desert. So, for those eagle-eyed viewers, listeners, and all that who have been around a good long while, this they would know that I played this in a playtest last year over at Pearl Abyss.
Hmm.
So, what I played at the time, you can go and check the YouTube channel. It's on there. It's basically a pre-alpha or an alpha version of the game. I didn't really get anything to do with the open world itself. I got a tiny little segment of story, which I have actually played in the main story now. But I'll get into that in a second.
Hmm.
And it was basically a boss rush mode. There were four bosses, and you basically went through like, you know how the Animus was like with Assassin's Creed, where you just walked in open space
Yes.
and you were basically loaded into a certain area.
Yes.
That's basically what it was. It just loaded you into this boss area. You triggered the boss cutscene, and then you started the boss, and that was it. In fact, I don't even think it really had a boss cutscene. That was all. So the main game is a massive open world RPG. Let's call it. I think it's more of an open world action adventure game with RPG like elements, you know, skill trees and all that, and crafting, all that sort of
Hmm.
stuff. So basically, the main angle of the game is that you play as a protagonist named Cliff, and you're in this massive world, and there is currently a war that's ongoing between two tribes. You are settling down for a meal in the evening when your tribe gets attacked by this rival tribe. I think it's called the Brown Bears or something similar like that. I don't recall.
So you're saying they're taking inspiration from a Duran Duran song, "When Two Tribes Go to War."
Yes, that's right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So most of your clan gets killed in battle, or presumably killed in battle because you don't actually see it. And then so are you. You get your well. It's a very violent game, as you could imagine. Get your throat slit and kicked down a mountain or off a waterfall, because of course you do. Basically, when you come to, you think that you're alive. I don't think you are, because some hallucination starts happening, and then you're basically in doing a tutorial area that's teaching you all the very vast mechanics of the game, and you know, such as combat. Well, it teaches you combat in the very opening sections. It talks to you about all the puzzle aspects. This grapple arm that you have that can be used to do puzzles. Grab ledges from quite a far distance away and snap to them, and everything as such. It teaches you all the bare basics of it. Basically, as you go through, you then discover that the person, like, you've been doing some fetch quests for people in this town that you think is an actual town, but actually appears to be purgatory. So
Okay.
it's basically teaching you that you do a couple of quests for these people. They turn out to basically be an angel and God, and they give you the power of wings. They give you some wings. You then basically jump off this platform, a la Tears of the Kingdom, and fly back down to Earth.
Okay.
And you basically end up in this town, and it's pretty much just showing you all what you need to do. So you need to take your old armor off and try and integrate within the town itself to be able to go through to the kingship, and basically teaching you all the pretty much the basic mechanics of traversal and everything as such. So like I said, I've only played 2 hours of this. The first 2 hours have been very slow, very methodical, basically in showing you all the mechanics.
Hmm.
Apparently, from all everyone that's been playing it so far, has been the first 8 to 10 hours is all pretty much tutorial. It will throw mechanics at you. It will throw new things that you can do. Apparently, that is very apparent throughout all of the game, because a new mechanic comes up quite frequently. So my general impressions of the game so far. So I'll start graphically. This is a beautiful looking game, massively expansive, amazing draw distance on the game itself. And it's probably one of the best looking games that I've ever seen in my life. This is utterly incredible to look at. So I'm playing this on max settings on a 5060 Ti 16 gig card, and 64 gigs of RAM, and an Intel i7 10th generation. I know the specs won't mean anything to you, but to those PC people, it'll be like, okay, this is an okay setup. What I have been finding is that surprisingly, the CPU hasn't been bottlenecking too badly, and it has somewhat maintained a really decent, steady 60 frames per second frame rate. I've had the occasional drop to 59, and
Okay.
when it has gone over, it's gone over by 1 to 2 frames. So that's what I mean. It's basically resembled a very steady 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
So performance-wise, graphics-wise, very impressive. Very, very, very good bit of technology in this engine. What I will say about this is it is going to be a very divisive game.
Hmm.
Its story is quite basic at the moment. I'm sure it probably has a bit more teeth about it later on. What I have been reading from the reviews, from the impressions generally, it's divisive because the controls and the amount of mechanics it throws at you. And I can somewhat agree with them because whilst the controls aren't necessarily that bad at the moment, there are things that I have been doing that are a little bit strange that you wouldn't think fits.
Hmm.
So you would think that things like run is a toggle on the L3 on controller.
Okay.
It's
So you play
not.
controller.
Yeah, it's not. It's like X, I think it is, which
Right.
feels a bit more old school, but it's because it's momentum based. It feels a bit weird. So you have like levels of run.
Yeah.
So you're sort of having it's like GTA where you're having to press it and then like you press it once and it's like running or jogging,
Yeah.
and then you press it again and then it's sort of jogging a bit faster, and then you press it again and it's kind of sprinting
Full on sprint.
as much as you can do sprinting, holding full armor and full inventory and all that sort of stuff.
Mm.
So the controls are a little bit strange. It does get a little bit awkward when you probably are going to have a lot more mechanics thrown at you, because they'll have to hotkey to other different things, and it'll you might have certain actions that you might press in like by mistake.
Yeah.
Apparently there is a fix coming for that down the line. There are going to be more controller remapping and stuff like that. Apparently the default way to play this is on a controller, even on PC, and it feels a bit strange because your keyboard has got so many keys, and yet like they're telling you to basically use a controller. It's a bit odd, but I guess that's probably because how expansive the world is. They probably want the full 360 movement of an analog stick.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a little bit odd. I'm gonna give more thoughts about this obviously when I give a bit more of the game of it. My overall impressions have been it's been quite slow to start, but I guess this is probably the result of having a minimum of 100 hour action adventure RPG like game that
Mm.
you don't want to give all your cards away very early, and you want to keep people engaged all the way through. So putting mechanics in at various different points throughout the game is probably going to make sense. But if the it sort of feels like they're going to throw things at you, and from what I've been reading and seeing, they throw a lot at you over time.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's sort of to some degree it sort of feels like they had all these great ideas that were taken from like other games, and they just thought, yeah, this is a great idea, let's just chuck it in there. Like one of the things that I've seen, and I've tried not to watch too much about it, is wrestling moves in combat. So one of the things that you can
Okay.
see is you can basically run up to people and just power bomb them, and it's so explosive that it will take out things from the environment nearby. It's freaking ridiculous. But I guess that's sort of the fun of having a game like this, is that it's just so ludicrous and stupid, but tonally it's like quite serious and very weird. Oh, it's so weird, honestly.
So, trying to find, I mean, if a game is very, very whimsical and whatnot, so like, let's say like Borderlands or whatever, and it's like, okay, yeah, we just roll with the punches. It's, it doesn't take itself seriously, da 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 da.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's very serious things that happened, like the atomic bomb dropping, and everyone's been wiped to extinction, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And those that did survive suffer from radiation, become ghouls, or they're mutants now and whatnot. But it's still very. Oh, sorry, no, I'm mixing up. I'm mixing myself up now. That's Fallout, but Fallout also, doesn't take itself extremely serious either.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I guess it can be good to have these sort of like really weird instances of like comedic moments and through game
Hmm.
mechanics, just to sort of take the edge off the main story. Um,
Yeah.
it was quite interesting though, because I dropped into the world and I went up to this town. It's quite close to where you drop in from, and there's a woman running across, like just across the way, and it gives me a marker. It's like, what am I doing with this person? So then I'm sort of like walking up to them. It gives me a prompt, and the prompt was to literally rugby tackle them down to the ground. I'm like, okay, what? And then I'm literally sat on top of them, and it's like, pummel. Why? What has this person
What?
done?
What have they done?
It turns out there's actually a bounty on that person's head, and I apparently got some coins for stopping them from getting away. But the game never
Okay.
told me that there was a bounty on their head, and I just thought I was just punching the crap out of a woman for no reason. It just didn't feel right, but
You're just doing your civic duty.
apparently so. Yeah, apparently so. But yeah, it's a very slow burn game at the moment, so I can't give
Hmm.
full thoughts on it. But so far, I'm mixed on it, and I think
Yeah.
some of that is based on the fact that I was quite excited about the game, and I'm not quite sure what this is yet.
Yeah,
So
it's not quite defined what it is or what it wants to be.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I think once I play more of it, and I'm fingers crossed, I'm hoping that before next week I'll be able to get a few more hours in to play it.
Mm.
Because this is one of those sorts of games I don't want to play it on Steam Deck. I don't think it will do it justice at all. The
Mm.
the 800p screen might not look as nice as what it should do. It will probably end up killing my battery within an hour as well,
Hmm.
and the frame rate might end up tanking. So it won't be an ideal experience. This is just one that I'm gonna play solely on PC, and I'll be quite happy to do
Yeah.
so. But trying to sit in front of your PC when you've just done so for 7 to 8 hours of work, bit difficult.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get that. But I mean, with the Steam Deck, I know it's not an included accessory, but you can buy a dock for it, can't you, to put onto a TV or a monitor?
Yes, you can. I haven't had the chance to sort of play around with the settings to see how it works in docked mode. I think I need to do a
Okay.
little bit more looking into. So I have got one. I'm thinking
Mm.
of probably putting it in my front room so it's connected to the 4K TV. But once
Yeah.
I'm able to enable, all the nice stuff with the dock itself, I will
Mm.
probably do that. But I just need to look into it, because that might be a really good way of doing it. Is just hook my controller up to it and just play it in the front room on the Steam Deck.
Yeah. I mean, granted, you've just upgraded your PC with the new graphics card and everything, so whether it's going to look any better than what you've already got on PC, that's the real question, I'm guessing.
No, but it might be one of those. It
Well, it's
probably
bigger.
won't, but it might be one of those things where I'll play it for an hour or so, then have dinner and then whilst I'm sitting in the front
Yeah.
room and the wife wants to sit and watch things on TikTok or do other things, I can just sit there and play it for another hour without having to section myself off in the spare bedroom to play it.
Yeah.
So it might
True.
work a bit better that way. But yeah, so far mixed. I'm not enjoying the game, but I'm not fully immersed yet.
It hasn't got its hooks into you.
No, and I really
That's
do
what it's
hope.
missing. Yeah, it's like, okay, this is a game, but
Yeah.
that is it. Yeah, this is a game. This is a game. That's it. It's not saying, oh, this is so good. Not like, for example, I know you've been mentioning it pretty much since the game's release with Resident Evil Requiem and how much you've been enjoying that up until like obviously the end. But we won't go into spoilers because we still got to do the spoiler cast with that
Yeah, we do. We're just
and
waiting for
how much
Kylie to
you've been
finish.
enjoying it. But it grips you from beginning to end.
Hmm.
But there are some games, like you said, like with this one, is a very, very slow burner, and I have heard of the mixed opinions of the game, and it's like, well, I'm going to hold off and wait until what Pete says because I know Pete played the alpha demo or the beta demo, and he enjoyed it. But it's obviously, with the full game, it's like, well, yeah, playing the cool sections of it, you've the actual fighting boss battles and all that, is a different experience as to like what the rest of the game will be. Because obviously,
Yeah.
this is the majority of the game is going to be like, because it's not bosses after bosses after bosses. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And that's the thing that from the playtest, I think I did actually say is I wanted to play more of the like see more of the world and see what they were doing with it.
Mm,
Like it was a very cool snapshot of what of the mechanics that we're going to have in the game, and the sort of equipment and magic system that they would have in that game as well. Obviously, it's going to
yeah.
have to build into it, but I would have liked to have seen more. And from the impressions that were done about 2 weeks before the game came out, a lot of people were saying actually they didn't really know how all of this connects because the playtest that the influencers and the reviewers and all that
Mm,
had from that was they went into early, then like they went in early and I think they did a boss or two, and then they basically went
yeah.
into end game when they were fully powered, and it didn't really show the in between at all of what you're going to be doing
No.
in that sense, and they said it felt very disjointed, and I can sort of
Mm,
see where they're coming from now. Whereas at the time I was like, this doesn't feel like the game that I played over a year or so ago. But then
no.
again, my snapshot of it was pretty much that a snapshot of what it was supposed to be, in terms of combat. And I think that's probably the strongest side of it. Is I think the combat is fantastic, or will be fantastic, when it is fully shown off in the game and you got all your powers pretty much. It's just how it's all
Yeah.
going to work together in a cohesive narrative, let's say. Because that, let's be honest, if you're playing a game like this, that's why you're there. You want a really decent cohesive narrative and a really vibrant world. And in fact, that's the one thing that I will give it absolute credit for from what I've seen so far in this opening town, is that everyone is interactable. Like every single character, like whether it
Mm,
be like a very a guard or a townsperson, a beggar, a cat, they're all very interactable, and they all have their own relationship status with Cliff, and you can build a meter to basically either get them on your side or just not. You can just leave them as is and not really talk to them, or you can just start building up a friendship meter with them, because eventually that might come into play as you go further along into the road of the game. So
to increase your affinity with the characters.
yeah, because I think the whole point
Right.
of this is that you've died and you've been given a second chance to sort of redeem the world a little bit more against this other
Yeah.
clan. So they want God and this angel probably want you to unify the world a bit more, which is why it gives you that
Mm,
mechanic. So I think it's really cool for that, and the fact that everyone is basically voiced and has their own personality traits, I think is like absolutely superb, and that sort of shows the great things that you can do with next generation gaming with like this sort of, which is what they should have been doing many years ago, like having this amount
mm.
of like environmental like aspect and character building with NPCs. Like a lot of games have teased it but never really delivered on it. Like you look at like Elder
No.
Scrolls, you look at Fallout like as two examples, and Starfield. Like when you're walking around in the world, they don't really follow a set path, and they're just sort of standing there waiting for you to interact with them. Whereas in this, they're
Yeah.
sort of walking around, they're doing their own thing. They all have their own jobs, and they're sort of having little conversations with other people. and then they're having like a different conversation with you when you prompt them with a little button press. And whilst it might not be like that engaging, it's still something, and it's quite cool.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because in Pocopia you can pretty almost do the same thing. Every Pokemon they interact with each other as well.
Hmm.
Some of them have unique dialogues with one another. For one example, Scyther, no, sorry, not Scyther, Pinsir, and Heracross. Now, throughout the games and the anime and the lore and that, these are two that are not very compatible with each other. Apparently, like the Pokedex entries is always that they always butt heads with one another and show off of who's got the bigger antennae and whatnot.
Mm.
Well, they carried that on in with this game, and then like if you just wander around and you'll see like a couple of the Pokemon, they'll be interacting with each other. There won't be any voices or whatever. You'll see like little icons above their head as they're talking, and they will react to what the other one is talking about and stuff like that. And then when you go to talk to them, they'll say, "Oh, I'm having such fun with the Pokemon that they were just interacting with." So it gives them a bit more of development on that side. It makes them
Mm.
feel a bit more like an individual character, and they've got a personality to them. And
Yeah, yeah,
that's what you want to see in games more. You want the world to feel more rich, and that they go off and they do their own things. And the same in Pocopia. Well, sometimes you won't see them near their habitats because they're wandering off somewhere else on the map, and
yeah,
they could
yeah,
be on a different part of the map. And that's kind of what you want with these games, because it's like this is not just a singular NPC which has a set route that goes from A to B, if they even move at all,
mm,
because normally, like you said, they'd just be in a stationary position waiting for you to interact with them. Or, in at least with games like this, Crimson Desert or in Pocopia, sometimes they'll even run up to you
yeah,
to engage with you out of a completely like random happenstance. As they go, "Hey, by the way, thank you for everything that you do. Take this." It's like, "Oh, okay then, cool."
yeah. It's quite a cool system, and it's obviously one of the things that they were showing off in the new Fable game when it is due to come out later on in the year. That every single person, every single character and NPC will have their own set like movement paths. Like they'll have jobs and times in which they do things. So there's definitely a lot of promise there with that sort of thing, and it's
Mm.
that's the sort of side of next generation or this generation gaming that I love to see, is that sort of level of interaction. And I'm not talking about AI as we're calling it at the moment, but artificial intelligence within the game systems like we have seen in the past.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm very mixed on this so far, but I'm looking forward to seeing what more there is to it at the moment. But yeah, this will definitely be a game that I'll be playing over the next few months probably. So expect more discussion. Clearly.
I do look forward to hearing more about your thoughts on how they develop with this game, because, like I said, like initial impressions of that have been very mixed with the game, and it's like, oh,
Hmm.
this is not what we was expecting at all. But I know, as you were gone in and you played the demo in the beginning, you were given permission to do the play testing, and then to see how the game has changed from that point.
Hmm.
So I am, yeah, I'll definitely, be listening out to your thoughts as they develop.